Sleep 1. Paid to watch him sleep. I was looking for a second job to help pay for school. It had to be at night since I already had a day job, and ideally I'd work alone, so I could use that time to study. Maybe a gas station or a store clerk position, something like that. But jobs like that go fast. Scrolling through forums and classifieds, I wasn't having any luck. Then I came across a post titled, "Someone to watch me sleep." I rolled my eyes. Definitely a sex thing. Hard pass. An hour later, I was still coming up empty. Out of frustration, I refreshed the page. The same post popped up. "Someone to watch me sleep." I sighed and clicked on it. Might as well see what this weirdo wanted. It read, "I'm looking for someone to watch me sleep. I have medical issues and need someone to stay awake in the room with me all night. I'm a heavy sleeper, so you're more than welcome to bring a book, your phone, or anything else you may need to pass the time. You must stay awake. The pay is $150 per night for the hours of 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. money paid each morning. Contact details below." Now I felt like crap for assuming it was a sex thing, when it was actually a life or death thing. Was I willing to be responsible for someone's life? I needed the money. And 8 uninterrupted hours to study sounded perfect. I typed in the phone number and called, hoping no one had beaten me to it. A man answered. He sounded friendly, but had a slight edge of panic in his voice when he asked if I could start that night. It was 9:20 p.m. Plenty of time to grab my things and head over. Before leaving, I wrote a note for my roommate. "I'm going to watch a man sleep. Name, address, and contact info below P.S. This is not a sex thing." Not sure if that was the best idea. Sam would definitely think it was a sex thing now. At 10:40 p.m., I arrived at his house, a nice 2-story home with a well-kept yard. Before I could ring the bell and the door opened, the man introduced himself as Timothy Roberts and thanked me for coming on such short notice. He looked exhausted, like he hadn't had a proper night's sleep in years. He led me inside and showed me to his bedroom. One last time, I assured myself this wasn't a sex thing. His room was large and neat. A king-size bed sat at the far end, a massive oak wardrobe opposite it. A bookshelf stood in one corner next to a big comfy chair and a tall reading lamp. "You'll be sitting there," he said, pointing to the chair. Then he turned to face me. "The rules are simple, but must be followed." His voice was firm. "You have to stay awake and in this room while I'm sleeping." He paused, making sure I was listening. I nodded. "Yes, of course. If for any reason you need to leave this room, you must wake me up first." He clapped his hands together for emphasis. "Sure thing." His expression remained serious. "Repeat it back to me." I held eye contact and recited, "I will stay awake and in this room while you sleep. If I need to leave, I'll wake you first." I smiled, trying to reassure him. His shoulders relaxed slightly. "Thank you." Then he got ready for bed. The night passed surprisingly quickly. Between my studying and the soft sound of Timothy's breathing, it was almost relaxing. Before I knew it, the sun was rising. A gentle alarm began to beep. Timothy rolled over, turned it off, then sat up. Looking directly at me, he asked, "How did it go? Did anything happen?" I frowned. "No, you slept soundly, and I got a ton of studying done." I stood, stretched, and packed my laptop. He climbed out of bed, put on his robe, and sighed. "Great. Thank you." As he led me to the front door, he handed me $150 crisp, new bills. "Thank you," I said, pocketing the cash. "I hope you had a good night's sleep." He gave a small, almost relieved smile. "Best I've had in a long, long time." He hesitated. "Same time tonight. Of course, I'm happy to come back whenever you need me." I left with a pocket full of cash and a laptop full of coursework. This might be the best gig ever. For the next 3 weeks, I watched Timothy sleep every night. Every morning, he looked healthier, brighter. I didn't know what his medical condition was, but I like to think I was helping him as much as he was helping me. Everything was great, until I caught a head cold. I called Timothy explaining that I wasn't feeling well, and given his health issues, it might be best if I skipped a few nights. Silence. Then softly, "Please come over. I'll pay you an extra $50, $200 to sit in a chair with a cold." How could I say no? "If you're sure you don't mind me being contagious." "I don't mind," he whispered. "And thank you." That night, I left my coursework at home. My headache wouldn't let me focus. Instead, I figured I'd watch some TV. 3 episodes into a mafia show. My head drooped. My eyes closed. When they reopened, the credits were rolling. I had fallen asleep. Only for a few minutes, but I had definitely fallen asleep. Heart pounding, I turned to the bed. Timothy was still there, breathing, sleeping. He was fine. Everything was fine. 7 a.m. The alarm beeped. Timothy sat up, turned it off, and stared at me. "You fell asleep." His voice was hollow, disappointed, sad. My head cold got the better of me, I admitted. "It was only a few minutes. I checked on you right away. I'm so sorry." He lowered his head. "No, I'm sorry." He stood and left the room. Moments later, he returned with a handful of cash. He extended it toward me. "Take this." I counted $500. "That's too much." I hesitated. "I can't take this. I won't be needing you tonight, or ever again." "Timothy, I know I broke a rule, but it was only a few minutes. I won't let it happen again. It doesn't matter now." He pressed the money into my hand. Silently, he led me to the front door and opened it. I stepped outside before I could leave, his voice shaking. "Wait." I turned. His whole body trembled. His eyes filled with terror met mine. "You need to find someone to watch you sleep." 2. Watch me sleep. It's been 3 months since Mr. Roberts fired me for falling asleep while working for him. He paid me to watch him sleep. It wasn't a sex thing. Honestly, he just needed someone awake in the room with him while he slept. He said it was a medical issue, but on my last day, I had a bit of a cold. The medication I was on made me drowsy, and I dozed off for a few minutes. He wasn't mad. Actually, he was apologetic. I didn't understand why at the time, but now I do. It started as that fleeting sensation of falling you sometimes get when you're about to drift off, the kind that jolts you awake. Annoying, but nothing to worry about. Right. But then it kept happening. Every night, every time I closed my eyes, the sudden drop yanked me back to consciousness. For almost 2 weeks, it disrupted every attempt at sleep. I figured it was stress studies, work life in general, but I was wrong. At the 2-week mark, the noises started. Strange, untraceable noises. Not quite breathing, but not breathing. I know that doesn't make sense, but that's the only way I can describe it. Another 2 weeks passed. The sounds continued, and then came the feeling, the distinct, inescapable feeling that I wasn't alone. You know, that sensation when someone is in the room with you, even if you can't see them. The air changes. The weight of the space around you shifts. But when I looked, nothing. I turned on the lights, checked the closet, under the bed even, but there was no one there. Yet the feeling never left. After a week of this, I was exhausted. Unlike the jolts or the noises, this feeling didn't fade once I was awake. It lingered, keeping me from falling back asleep at all. I was barely functioning. My coursework suffered, and I was fired from my new job for a lack of concentration. It should have taken me less time to think back to Mr. Roberts, but given my sleep-deprived state, I gave myself a pass. "Mister, Roberts had said something to me as I left on my last day. You need to find someone to watch you sleep. He knew this was going to happen to me because it had happened to him. But unlike me, he had figured out how to stop it by paying someone to watch him. I unfortunately can't afford that luxury. I need answers. I grabbed my phone, scrolling back 8 weeks to the day I first called Mr. Roberts about the job. I never delete anything, so the number is still there. I press call. It rings. No answer. Is he dodging me? Maybe he's just not home after all. It was a landline. This can't wait. I grab my coat and head out 40 minutes later. I'm standing on Mr. Roberts' front porch staring at his door. How am I going to explain this? Hey, remember me? I think you cursed me with your weird sleep thing. Yeah, that'll go over. Well, I look like shit. My eyes are open through sheer force of will alone. He's either going to think I'm insane or, worse, he's going to believe me. I don't know which possibility is more terrifying. I ring the bell. Seconds later, the door opens. Mr. Roberts stares at me for a long moment. He looks, well, really well. You, he says almost sadly. Please help me. I beg, my voice cracking. His expression softens. Come in. Let me explain. Mr. Roberts returns from the kitchen with a steaming cup of coffee and hands it to me. It's extra strong, he mutters, avoiding my gaze. Thanks, I say, taking a sip. He exhales slowly, then speaks. I'm so sorry this is happening to you. I never wanted this. I was very clear about not falling asleep while I was sleeping. I nod, waiting. The thing attached to me about 6 months before we met. I was on vacation in Japan when I visited a shrine inside a beautiful temple. I fell while walking through a passage and broke a small clay vase. He glances at his bookshelf, walks over and pulls out a hardcover book titled Demonology, flipping through the pages. He finally turns the book toward me. Baku, it's a sleep demon. The legends say it feeds on nightmares, but after experiencing what I assume you have been going through, I dug deeper. He taps a passage in the book. This one is like a parasite. It torments its prey, keeping them from the dream world until they either die or pass it on. My stomach knots. After the noises and the feeling of being watched, he continues. You'll start seeing its eyes, usually in the corners, the ceiling. Then it will touch you. His expression darkens. After the touching comes the biting, the scratching, the burning. He closes his eyes and lifts his shirt. His back is covered in burn scars. Then he rolls up his sleeves. Deep, jagged scratches run along his arms alongside what can only be bite marks. I swallow hard. How did I get it? I whisper. You fell asleep while watching me, he says grimly. It saw you enter the dream world and latched onto you. I squeeze my eyes shut, trying to process. The only way to keep it at bay, he continues, is to have someone watch you. I shake my head. I can't afford to pay someone. And I won't pass this on to someone else. There has to be a way to remove it. It's not a curse, he says, flipping the book around again. It's a parasite, a leech. I stand suddenly, my chair scraping against the floor. I won't do this. I just can't. Wait, he urges. Let me watch you sleep tonight. At least you'll face tomorrow. Rested, I hesitate, then nod. Thank you, I whisper. The next morning, I feel like I've actually slept for the first time in my life. Processing everything from the night before, I leave Mr. Roberts' house and head home. On the subway, an idea forms in my mind. I don't like it. I definitely won't come off as sane, but I have to try something. That night I set up my camera, adjusting the angle until it captures my entire bed. I plug my laptop in, open a streaming site. I hover over the Go Live button. My stomach turns. but I have no other choice. I title the stream, "Watch Me Sleep," and I pray that somewhere out there, a stranger is willing to watch. I hit go live. 3. I watch a stranger sleep. I suffer from insomnia, which can be very draining. I have a bed, but it's mostly used as a second couch. I sit under the duvet with my laptop and either get some work done or mindlessly scroll through social media. Nights for me are no different than days, except all my friends are asleep, so I can't chat with them. I've made friends online with people on the other side of the planet, so I can at least talk to someone at 3 a.m. when I need interaction. After years of binge-watching TV shows and terrible movies, I'm used to doing nothing for hours at a time. I'm subscribed to far too many channels on YouTube just for the content. So spending hours looking for something to watch is nothing new. But 3 weeks ago, I found a live streamer who streams every single night. He turns on his camera and goes to sleep. That's it. He titles the stream, "Watch Me Sleep." And so I do. I promise. It's not a sex thing. For me at least. I can't speak for the other 38 people watching. For me, this stream of a random man sleeping is like the food videos people watch while on a diet. It's calming. There's something weirdly peaceful about seeing someone else able to fall asleep. I found myself tuning in every night. He looks sad before bed. Every morning when he wakes up, he walks to the camera and quietly says, "Thank you," before ending the stream. Each night, the viewer count fluctuates from high hundreds to single digits. The comments are usually the same. "This is boring. Do something. Why am I watching this?" The streamer never replies. He never changes the title. There's no explanation for why he's doing this. No profile bio, no socials, no backstory. The mystery of it, that's what pulled me in. It started 5 days ago. I was watching a movie and joined the stream late. He was already asleep by the time I clicked in. As the video loaded, I caught something, just for a second. A shape, a blur, a figure. I couldn't quite tell. I scrolled back 10 seconds and replayed the moment. Nothing. I figured it was a glitch. But then 4 nights ago, I joined late again, after drinks with friends. This time, I definitely saw it. A figure in the dark. It stood next to the bed, silently watching the sleeping man. I checked the chat. 16 other people were watching, but no one mentioned it. They were talking about the dark bed cover or complaining about the pillows, but no mention of him. So I typed, "Who is that in the room with him?" The replies came quickly. Steg47. "What lumpy grump? Who night watch? What are you talking about? Don't talk to me. Don't try to make this more interesting. Can you not see the thing standing next to the bed?" I typed again. Head Cassie. "Ha ha ha ha. Good one, night watch. You're not fooling anyone." No one believed me. I refreshed the stream. It was still there. But this time, it turned and looked at me. Slam. I shut my laptop, heart pounding in my ears. I told myself it was sleep deprivation, hallucination, day nightmaring or something. It had to be. 3 nights ago I joined again. This time I wasn't exhausted. I hadn't been drinking. I'd done everything right. The stream is loaded. And there it was. The figure, tall, almost human, but not quite. Like someone tried to draw a person from memory and got the proportions wrong. It stood beside the bed, but it wasn't watching the sleeping man. It was watching me. I froze. I couldn't move. Its eyes, if you can call them that, locked onto mine. I swear, it could see me as clearly as I saw it. My hands trembled. I wanted to close the laptop. I didn't. I couldn't. I watched it for hours and it watched me. Then it moved. It stepped forward. Its face filled the screen. It tilted its head, almost curious, maybe even fascinated. It raised its hand. I don't know why I did it, but I lifted mine too, and when our hands met on the screen, it vanished. The next thing I knew, it was morning, and for the first time in years, I felt rested. Not a nap, not a blackout, not a short burst of unconsciousness. Sleep. I had to find him, warn him. But how? He never responded to comments. His username, watch me, sleep, led to nothing. No other socials, no website. Then I remembered something. That backpack. It hung by his bed. I'd seen it so many times before, never thought twice about it. It had a college logo, a little Googling, and less than an hour later, I'd found the school. It wasn't too far away. Well, for someone who doesn't sleep, a 14-hour drive doesn't seem too bad. The next day, I arrived on campus. It was huge. I had no real plan, just a screen grab of his face. After hours of walking, I finally found someone who recognized him and pointed me to his dorm. 20 minutes later, I was knocking on his door. It opened. He stared at me. "Hello," he said, "is you?" I said, stunned. "And you are?" he asked politely. "I'm Kevin. I will watch you sleep." He blinked, then smiled a little embarrassed. "Oh, I'm Eric, and thank you. I saw something in the room with you," I said, careful not to sound insane. He turned, looked around his room, then back at me. "What did it do? You believe me?" He nodded, stepped aside and gestured for me to come in. Over coffee, I told him everything. He didn't interrupt, just listened. When I finally finished, he let out a slow breath. "I appreciate you coming all this way, but I already know I waited." He looked at me and finally continued. "It started when I took a job watching a man sleep. He had a sleep demon attached to him. It hurt him whenever he entered the dream realm. He hired me to stay awake while he slept. But one night, I fell asleep and the demon latched onto me. He rolled up his sleeves, scratches, bites, scars. That's why I started the live stream. As long as someone's watching it, doesn't hurt me." He paused. "That thing you saw, I can't see it. I never have." "You said it's a sleep demon," I asked. He nodded. "I suffer from insomnia. I can't enter the dream realm." His eyes widened. "You think it's interested in you because you're unreachable?" "I think it wants to understand me." "What are you saying?" "Let me watch you sleep. If it shows itself to me on a screen, it'll show itself to me in person. Maybe we can learn something." He hesitated. "It could hurt you. It could kill you. I want to do this. If my insomnia can help someone, maybe my years of torture will be worth something." He looked at me with a kind of sadness that hit harder than a punch. An hour later, Eric got ready for bed. I sat at his desk, watching, waiting. He whispered, "Thank you," as he climbed into bed. It didn't take long. As soon as he drifted off, it appeared. The figure stood by the bed, then turned, saw me and smiled. It walked over, kneeling to meet my eye level. It tilted its head, curious, calculating. It raised its hand, and I raised mine. We touched. The next morning, Eric woke up and sat up slowly. "It's gone," he whispered, exhaling like he'd been holding his breath for years. He turned to me, but I was already standing. "Did you fall asleep?" he asked solemnly. "No," I said gently. He stared. "Your eyes," he whispered. "What about them?" I asked, already knowing the answer. "They're not yours," I smiled. Walked to the door. "Goodbye, Eric." As I stepped into the hallway, I heard the click of the lock behind me. I didn't blame him. I placed a hand on my chest and whispered, "Let's go home." A voice. Its voice answered from deep inside me. "Yes, let's."